Okay, so the first thing to take a look at is these 5 different ways to loop through an array list. All right, first one, regular old for loop. All right, so my names array is an array list of strings defined up here. All right, so it doesn't matter what type of object you're looping through, you can use these 5 different approaches. All right, so first way is just loop through with a regular for loop using the get method from the array list. Make sense? Second way is an enhanced for loop. Right, nothing new there. You can use enhanced for loop to go over to loop over any collection type, including arrays. All right, third way, with an array list, you can use the for each method of the array list. All right, and the way this works is you can define, it's very similar to an enhanced for loop, just a different syntax. Use the for each, use this operator to say you want to do whatever code is in here using the element contained in this variable. That one okay? It's very similar to an enhanced for loop. All right, but there's also these things called iterators, which we can use to iterate over collections. Right, so first off, I'll comment out this one. I just look at the iterator. All right, so in order to obtain the iterator, we use the array list iterator method, and it'll give us back an iterator. So this iterator is associated with a given whatever array list we used to get the iterator, right? All right, so this iter in this case is related to the names array list. And so an iterator is a class in Java, and has, so it's going to have functionality associated with it. For each remaining, all right. So if you're looping through something, and then you wanted to do something, from that point on, you could use the for each remaining and use that for each syntax that we just looked at for all the rest of them. So maybe, who knows what business need you're going to need to do something, but if you're going through all employees and you get to a certain point, and maybe they all have a certain pay scale, and they're ordered, so once you get to a certain pay scale, maybe you're doing something to all the rest of them, like sending an email to them or something like that. Who knows what you might want to do. Has next is going to give you back true or false, whether or not there's any more items in the array list. Next is going to give you back the next item in the list. So often, if you're just using it to loop through an array list, this would be the syntax you would use. While the iterator has next, or why there are more elements in the array list, get the next element and do something with it. Remove. So this here lets you remove the current element that you called with next. Those would be the black ones. The ones in bold here are the ones you're going to be potentially using more often. That's why I had this code up here in the this for loop, just as an example. All right, so this, if I'm using this enhanced for loop to loop through an array list, and then I try to call the remove method from the array list to remove a particular element from the array list, that's not necessarily going to work very well. If I try it, see what happens. Whoa. What happened there? Oh, we're under option A. All right, so here we are. So it's okay. We're starting to loop through the names array list. Everything's good. All right, so I just removed an element from the array list. And it comes up here, and I'd say, all right, let's go to the next one. And then boom, crashes. So I get the concurrent modification exception because you can't modify the array list that you're currently using an enhanced for loop to loop through. All right, so if you try to modify it, that's going to throw an exception. And that's one purpose. If you need to do such a thing, then you want to use an iterator to do that. So I would be able to use an iter to safely remove an item from the array list while I'm looping through it. So that might be one to do. Maybe you want to do something. You want to send them you're looping through an array list of students. You want to send them an email. You've graduated, so you're no longer here. And whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know what the business need, but if you have to manipulate the list while you're looping through it, you'd probably want to use an iterator. All right, and the last one that we'll take a quick look at is list iterator. So this one is specific to an array list. It has all the methods that iterator has, but it also has more to it. So since array lists are ordered, as opposed to, because you can use iterators for sets and any collection type. But you notice you can also go backwards. So you can go next or previous. Has next, has previous. So I don't know. Next index. Oh, this will let you get the index for the next item, which the iterator didn't let us do, right? We couldn't tell what one we were currently at, what the number of the index was. Previous index, remove. Can set the current element to a specific value. You can add to it, and it'll add it in the array list at that specific location, as opposed to just the regular add method for an array list. That would just put it at the end of the list. But an iterator will let you insert right into the middle of a list as well. So just, you know what? How you go about using those methods will depend on the business requirement. But you have to just to be aware that that logic is out there in a list iterator. So. All right, so that's just a quick look at those 5 ways to loop through collections.